Hey everyone, this is Elias from Red Match Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 Honda Prologue Elite all-wheel drive. Now, this is a collaboration between GM and Honda, but did it lose its Honda-ness to more of a GM vehicle? Well, let's go ahead and find out. We get started in the front, and yeah, the Pacific Blue metallic color, this thing is amazing. I really want to see this more in Honda vehicles. It just looks really, really good. It's a super bright, super fun, super happy blue color. It really is. Like, that's how I kind of feel when I see this blue color. It looks spectacular. And the front design is really good. We're kind of starting to see this shift into kind of these designs with the new Passport, kind of mimicking a little bit of the headlights of the Prologue. So yeah, I'm loving the way that Honda is kind of going if they decide to kind of go this route. But a couple of elements that I like. First of all, it's a super sleek looking front end. Needed for it being a full EV, we need to be as efficient as possible to really get the most range out of a full charge. But yeah, the hood looks really cool. I love the sculpting that we get with it. The headlights look really nice. I love the design that we get with this. It's super nice and kind of dark and just a really cool kind of layout to this. Unfortunately though, the output is kind of poor. It really is, to the point where I was trying to make sure that my lights were turned on, and yeah, with this being a GM product, we'll talk about that little detail when we get inside. But the light output is not very good. It leaves a big gap between the front and possibly about I'd say 3 to 4 feet, and then the lights start, and then it's still just a little strip. So I was just so confused. And I get it, we have fog lights on here, which look really nice. I love the recessed and the kind of framing we have with the black there. And I get we have that, but, and technically fog lights usually fill up that amount, but to turn it on, it's kind of a pain, which again, we'll discuss when we get in. And it shouldn't have to be that way. I shouldn't need my fog lights to be on in order to illuminate my direct front area of my vehicle. So they look great, but the output, not the greatest. Then we get the grille. I love this grille. So typically I don't like EV grills because they're super flat and they're susceptible to just a ton of bugs. But there's a little bit more life to this. So it kind of has a little carve out to it. We have a nice Honda badge. We have the front facing camera to deal with the 360 camera system, which is a GM product, yes. So thankfully we have that system because Honda doesn't really have a 360-degree camera except for 2 vehicles now, including the Passport. The Trail Watch is what they call. But thankfully we get the GM system because it is really good. I like the lower part as well, so we have a nice big opening. This thing is really nice. I love the way that this looks. So let's go ahead and see what we have under this hood. We get under the hood and we have a dual motor all-wheel drive system, and it is cranking out 288 horsepower and 333 pound-feet of torque. Now with this system, we do get a range of about 273 because it's the all-wheel drive model. Now, a couple of things. So thankfully, the drivability to this is really good as far as power delivery goes. With it not having 500, 600, 800 pound-feet of torque that some of these EVs have, or it feels like they have, it makes it nice and easy to drive. So, you accelerate and you're not gonna go like a bat out of hell, but then it kind of suffers a little bit. So from a stop, it's great. You can really get accelerating. When you are on highway speeds, highway passing is going to be a little bit of a struggle. So it does kind of have that EV fall flat on your face kind of torque feeling to it. So just kind of be aware of that. Now the one pedal driving wasn't too bad. You can get a little bit on the aggressive side, so I had to back it off from that setting. But yeah, everyday drivability, no issues. Yeah, there's a big space in here. It would have been nice to have maybe a gas version of this, because I like the way that this looks on the outside. But there's some stuff that GM did inside that, yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, how about that, you know, 3.5 liter V6 in here, TrailSport. Yeah, you know, just a thought, Honda, just a thought, because I like that power plant, and we're getting very similar numbers to that anyway. So yeah, let's do a Prologue EV, and let's do a not Prologue EV, so gas powered. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have the nice 21-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 275/45 Bridgestone tire. Now, getting started on the design, yes, I love these things. It reminds me of ice cream, like clipart ice cream. You know, we have the ice cream bar here, and then we have the, you know, little stick there. But I love this design. It's super fun. It's awesome to just kind of look at. Don't change this, go with this wheel option. So love that. Then we get to the tires, and the tires, yeah, it's a little muddy today because we've had these really bad rains. The grip is there though, super quiet. That was the big thing that I was really surprised with this, as far as like road noise, and the cabin also makes it really, really quiet, which you'll not hear when we do the driving portion of my review. But loving the tire package. Yeah, grip is not a problem. The traction control system has so many small micro adjustments to avoid wheel spin that it just gets the power down, and these tires have the grip to really deliver that as well. Then we get to the suspension, and that's where it goes kind of bad. So the suspension is extremely stiff, and it's not that you're feeling any jarring of the road. So if you were to get a bump, it's not that you're feeling the jarring of kind of the suspension. It absorbs it, but then translates it exactly to the cab. So the ride has not been the best. We're feeling everything. We're just kind of tumbling around. Yeah, there's no road absorption with that setup. The brakes aren't bad. You do start to feel the weight if you start pushing it a little bit. Regenerative braking is great as well. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with this. So let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side, and we can see this thing is kind of sleek. Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I really like. The fact that we have a really kind of low profile to the roof, but we kind of have a lifted feel to it. Yeah, looks good. Reminds me of that Range Rover, I forget the name of it, but it's kind of sleek like this and kind of lifted as well. So yeah, kind of cool. It's a compliment, Honda, don't worry. But we take a look at the front, and we have the basically straight hood that we were looking at earlier, and we have kind of bulbous fenders, which I really like that. We don't have too sharp of an angular design, so it is a little bit on the kind of smoother side of things. We take a look at the wheels, and yeah, the wheels look great size for something like this. We have our cap here for charging, so we can just go ahead and plug in there. We do have a little bit of a trim on the wheel wells, and then at the bottom it goes all the way to the back, and it kind of sticks out a little bit. I like that design. It's not just a kind of trim, it's part of the line of the vehicle. So loving the way that looks. And then we get kind of the line that sharpens up a little bit towards the back, and yeah, that's kind of what we get as far as profile. And we have the black framing around the windows. We have the black mirrors. We have the 360-degree camera system, which thankfully is from GM and one of my favorite systems from them. And we have this tiny little window that I really like the way it just kind of frames back there. Lets more light, makes this airy feeling inside, which is one of the biggest things with this. Is even though you're in a big vehicle, it still feels airy and light. So yeah, we have that. And then up top, we have the roof rails for additional storage. Now, I have the key fob in my pocket, so I'll go ahead and reach for the handle, and I get nothing. Unfortunately, we adopted the least favorite of my function from GM, and that is the door handle. The keyless entry does require you to push the button. Yes, I know I'm nitpicking, but there's been so many times where I've just reached over and just gotten one of those. So yes, even though the button is chrome, I still forget it, even on my personal Chevy Trailblazer. So I do have to press the button and go ahead and open this up, and you're in. Big door, good height to really get into as well. No issues with that. So we can go ahead and close that off, and yes, push the button again to lock. But I gotta give it to Honda, because they implemented the same button in the rear. Not many, if any, that I can think of, Chevy vehicles that have the button have it in the back, now that I think about it. There might be, so I might be wrong, but I do love the fact that we do get it in the rear, so I am able to open up. Again, big door, easy to get into. I can go ahead and close, get my kiddo out, and then just push the button to lock. Thank you. At least we got it in both front and rear doors, so I guess I won't complain as much. But yeah, that's kind of what you get in the side profile. And with me getting it a little bit dirty, because it's been just really bad rain and just super muddy and everything, I think Honda, we need a TrailSport version of this, because it kind of looks cool dirty. Yeah, with the dirty wheels. So let's talk about that. I think maybe we can go smaller. We'll definitely need to go smaller wheel, bigger tire, a lift. We get, yeah, a more aggressive, I guess, all-wheel drive system to get the power, you know, different modes to get that power from the EV down to each wheel, essentially. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, because I think a TrailSport of the Prologue would be kind of cool to have. So let's go ahead and see what we have in the back. We take a look at the back, and this thing is awesome. I love a lot of the design. First of all, the overall design looks really cool. Loving that. I love the little intricacies that we'll see as we break it down. But yeah, starting at the top, we do have a little bit of a spoiler that kind of kicks out here. We have third brake light in there, and we have the rear wiper here. Now, this glass, it looks small because it is small, and your visibility is almost going to be non-existent. So just be aware that kind of looking back, you're going to have a really narrow viewing area. Now, unfortunately though, we don't have a rear view camera system, which would have been perfect. I could care less about this rear glass because I'd have a camera right in there to be able to go ahead and see what we have in the back. So yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have it. But moving on from this, we get these taillights. These taillights are awesome. I love their design. It's super futuristic looking. It's almost robotic in a sense, or mechanical. Yeah, I think that's the better word. Mechanically robotic, I guess we could say. But I love the little intricacies that we have. We have the red frosted design at the top. We have small little components. And, you know, as I kind of, you know, have the turn signals turn on, it's really cool. It's just a really nice design. Then we get to the middle and we have the Honda sign. I love this Honda sign. It has kind of a retro feel with the lowercase letters and the font selection and this spacing. I think that's kind of what makes it different, and I like it. I know it's such a small little thing, but when I look at this Honda, it says something different to me. It says this is kind of cool, and it really is. I like the way that looks. Then we get the Prologue, and we have the Elite badging there, and then we have the electric E there with the all-wheel drive. Then we come a little bit lower, and we have some black trimming down there, as well as that kind of silver trimming there. Yeah, obviously with no exhaust tips because full EV, but that's kind of what we get in the back. So let's go ahead and see what we have in here. Now you can open up the back by pressing the button that's underneath that end, but it's a little on the dirty side. So we'll go ahead and use the key fob. So just a matter of pressing it twice, it goes ahead and opens up, and we get a decent amount of space. So the one thing is the kind of floor is a little bit on the higher side, so just kind of be aware of that, because we have the all-wheel drive system, mechanical components, or yeah, electrical components underneath there are taking up the space to lift there. But yeah, if we kind of look down here though, we do still get a good storage in there, so we still have a good amount there and small there. But this isn't too bad though. So this isn't bad. We do get, again, a good height, so it's not super bad like we've seen in other vehicles where my bag was almost over the back of the rear seats. So yeah, not a big issue there. Yeah, we have a little bit of storage here, but nothing to kind of hold it there. And same thing here. So would have liked maybe like a netting or something there. We do get a 12-volt adapter there, and we do have the hooks here for a small like net or storage net that's back here. But other than that though, it's not too bad. So we do have a good decent amount of space back here. We open up the door and there's a lot of good things about this. So one thing that I really like is we have the kind of wide armrest or wide door. So we are able to rest my arm up here with no problem. We do get the handle, which is kind of like a brushed chrome. Yeah, so it's kind of shiny, but it's dull at the same time. And then we have our buttons to save seats here, and obviously lock and unlock. And yeah, quality control may have to deal with this one. So yeah, that one's kind of coming apart a little there. So yeah, that's probably not on the Honda side, if you know what I mean. So then down here we have our controls for our windows, we have our mirrors, and we have some black, piano black trim there, which looks nice. Really good armrest as well. We do have a little area there where you can put your key if you want, or just, you know, something else in there. But love this material as well, nice and soft. Then we come down here and we have the area for cup holders or bottles. And yeah, I have my coffee here for a reason. It was actually safer here than the actual cup holders, which we'll take a look at why I love them so much. Yes, I'm being sarcastic. But then we have our trunk opener there, which is always a pain for me to find when they're like this. Just put them on the dash because you do have some space in the dash. But yeah, that's kind of what we get with the door. Oh, we have the speaker as well. Bose system, not too bad. Not the best, but yeah, still not too bad. But yeah, that's kind of what you get. We take a look at the seats, and these things were nice and comfortable. We have the heated option, we have the cooled option, we have the adjustability that, although it's simple, was all I really needed to find a sweet spot. They're super comfortable, big boy friendly, big side bolsters as well. Kept me in. They're white, yes, I know, and we are getting a little bit of the dirtiness there already. I like the gray. I like the white. It's nice and airy in here because of it. But yeah, really no complaints. I could have really driven this with comfort as far as the seat goes with no issues. We take a look at the steering wheel, and yeah, it's not bad. It's not exciting, but it's not bad. So a couple of things. So the leather wrap is really soft. Yeah, loving that. We do get a stitching that matches the lighter color of the interior, so like that fact that we have that. Then we have the buttons here. So yes, so there is basically GM. So this is GM's steering wheel. Those buttons, we have the cruise control on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side we have infotainment and gauge cluster controls here. So there, and then we have a regenerative paddle here, so we have that in case you want to use it for regenerative braking. And then we have a pain, which is these buttons. Yeah, so these buttons back here are for your next track and previous track, but they don't seem to like to work. I was having a big headache with them because they wouldn't work, and it's very difficult to find them or to feel them from one to the other. I felt like it was just one and then the regenerative, and I kept saying, how can I only go to the previous track? There's no forward track button. So there's that. And then on the right hand side we do have the volume controls, which are a little bit easier to kind of find and distinguish between them. So that's kind of what you get. Now, I'm gonna combine the gauge cluster because there is a big pain to me with this gauge cluster, and that is this button. So I'll go ahead. Right now we have this mode. I press it and we get this, which is nice. Unfortunately, I can't change what's on the left, or I think I can, but I can't. I just don't know what to really do to get that changed. So yeah, not sure if I can, which is a shame because I would like to have different things on here, like maybe I don't know, a different view of recharging, a PSI for my tires, that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, we do not get those or get that information there. So yeah, again, kind of a shame. Middle though, we do have, this is kind of the view I've had it at the whole time basically. So we have the charge on the left, we have the power, basically your throttle input, whether you're in power mode or you're in charge mode regeneratively. And then on the right hand side, we have the song that is playing. Now there is a view for different maps. So you do have the option for Google Maps as well as your Apple CarPlay map, which is nice. So that whole screen basically becomes the map with a little circle here off to the side. I liked it because I just had the Apple Maps, and we don't have the best of drivers in my area, especially a little area here where there's no light. There's a lot of accidents, and thankfully I had that on because it showed me, hey, there's a accident there and tons of traffic, and I was able to avoid it. So that was kind of cool. I like the fact that we do have both options for Google Maps as well as Apple CarPlay maps. So yeah, that's not too bad. But again, yeah, we have so much possibility of switching those things over. If there's a way, let me know, because I could not figure it out. And then we had the heads-up display, which was not too bad, except that for some reason it is really on the how can I say? So it's not the display that we have, or the screen lights up the windshield, but it was kind of giving me a ghosting area. So I actually had to turn the display or the brightness down at night. So during the daytime, I could bring it up. The only problem is it's kind of a pain to get to in the menu. So it's like 5 different things you have to go through to get to the heads-up display, instead of just, maybe getting it in here as a setting. Yeah, so it's that frustrating. This vehicle has been very frustrating with common sense things to get things changed. We get to the infotainment screen and it's nice and big, it's clear, and that's kind of about it. It is out of the way, so that's kind of my field of view. So it is out of the way, which is nice. We do have the volume button on the left hand side here, so it is nice to have it there. And then we have the controls on the left hand side for the system itself, and then we have the wireless Apple CarPlay area here. At the top, yes, so let's start at the top. Remember the lighting situation that I had? Yes, it was infuriating that I had to use this. And typically I'm fine with it on other Chevy vehicles that have had it, but because the light output on this was bad, I kept looking for the switch on here, and I said, that's right, this is a Chevy or a GM product, and we need to essentially get it here. So I had to essentially do that. And then to get to the fog lights, I had to go to the controls here and then turn on fog lights. And then if I want to do the heads-up display, I have to go there, instead of just doing it on the steering wheel or doing it in a button. So normally I'm okay with this, but for this vehicle, I was hoping we had a switch for it. And then we have the one pedal driving, and like I said, we have the off, normal, and high. I was in the high at first, but it was just way too much. I had to go back to the normal. Then we take a look at the cameras. So we press there, we have the cameras, and yes, we have GM's system, thankfully so, because the Honda systems, non-existent. Literally only 2 vehicles. It's the Pilot and now the new Passport that will have the 360 system. So thankfully we stole that, or Honda stole that from GM, and we were able to get these camera systems, which I am a huge fan of when it comes to, yeah, GM's camera system, and able to see the back. Yeah, not the best, but yeah, it does the job. But loving that system. Very simple, very straightforward, very nice to work with. Then we come down here to the climate system, which is great, simple, straight to the point. One of my favorite things from GM. Yeah, this is more of a GM controls. I'm very familiar with it from my own vehicle. So yeah, no complaints. We have our cooled options, our heated options, the different modes for the AC system or the climate system. And yeah, like I said, pretty straightforward. We come down here, we have 2 USB-C connections, and we have a 12-volt adapter right in there. Down here, we have a big area, which was actually nice to kind of have my phone there. It's not a wireless charger, so yeah, this isn't wireless charging here, but it was just nice to have my phone there or to have other things there. Now just be aware, if you're going a little bit on the spirited driving, things will fly out, because you will see in my driving I had hand sanitizer here and it just went essentially flying over. So just kind of be aware of that if you're wanting to step on it a little bit and go through some twisties. There's not much of a lip here on the edge. So yeah, just other than that though, it's a nice area to kind of put things on. Then we come to the cup holders, which are horrible. They like, I'm being nice, they are horrible. It's a GM product, because this is American size cup holders, except a lot of cups don't have such a massive base. They usually kind of taper out from a standard kind of size base. So this is horrible, because yeah, that was happening the whole time. So that's why I said use the ones on the door, because they're way better. We had our hot chocolate here that we had from a holiday event, and yeah, let's just say we were holding our cups, because this was not really secure, and there's not much I understand, like, these things grab, but the opening is still so massive that it doesn't grab anything. But yeah, just be aware. Now if you do have massive based cups, you're fine. Yeah, that's what you get with that. Then we come back, and yes, this is awesome. I am loving this. So I'll go ahead and so this is a wireless charger, by the way, so I'll go ahead and chuck it in there. And did it charge? It did. Yeah, it just takes a little bit, but it gets it. But love that. Love the fact that we have that there. It doesn't take up much space. It was really just, you know, kind of put it in there. Now there's times where, yeah, I've had to kind of wiggle it a little bit to get to the perfect spot. But other than that though, just really tossing it in there has been it. And I love this because, again, it just freed up all the space that we have here. So big fan of this wireless charger. We get to the armrest and it is nice and soft. We do have that white color on there, and the stitching is a little bit on the darker gray. So love that small little detail, because they could have just gone with white or black. So, but it is that gray color that matches the seats themselves. So we go ahead and open up, and to my surprise, there is a ton of space in here. Normally I can't even fit my telemetry box in here for some vehicles, but I have my telemetry, I have my 2 GoPros in here, and I have tons of space. Now there is not, and yeah, we have that little thingy there, but there is no additional USBs, so just kind of be aware. There is a little bit of a little gap here that goes in because of the wireless charger. But yeah, I was liking this because of the tons of storage that I had from the armrest to literally just shove my GoPros in there with my telemetry box, and good to go. Nice and comfortable, and have my phone access there, and yeah, really good. We get to the back door, and different materials. So up here we do get more of a harder plastic, more of a durable plastic, because yeah, you'll probably have kids back here, so it has to stand the time of kids. So we have that, and then we have the Bose tweeter here, the door handle or the door opener. We have the softer white material or gray. Yeah, it's like an off-white kind of grayish color, so I like that. And then down here we do get only one bottle holder. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we probably wish, or I wish we had something that kind of just goes in deeper there. But then we have the woofer down here, and that's kind of what you get with the rear door. Then we get to the back seat, and there is a ton of space back here. So first, the seats themselves, really nice looking again, really soft, super comfortable. We have the ISOFIX latches on there, so you are able to kind of open that up for a kid seat. The only thing I had a concern of is if you take a look, that those latches go up and they kind of protrude into what could possibly be him. So yeah, I was just kind of a little concerned. I said, hey, I told my son, hey, go ahead and sit down. Just be careful when you lean back, just in case of anything. And thankfully he said he didn't feel anything, but just kind of be aware that that's there. And yeah, to kind of take them out, I don't think you can, because of how it looks like it's really on there. Now, I usually mind when they come off, so because it's always kind of a pain to put them back in, but I kind of prefer that over having them just be up there as possible, like, you know, point of, and they're sharp. So yeah, not sure why that design was done. But then we get this here. We have the secret cup holders, which are normal sized compared to the ones in the front. So really like that. And then we have their own vent in the back, but it is only still a two-zone climate system. A little bit of a cubby area there, and then we have our connections down there for USB-C and a 12-volt adapter. But the big thing with this is really the legroom. There is a ton of legroom space here and a ton of headroom space as well. So definitely, if you have tall passengers and you need the space, this really fits the bill. So we go for a drive in the Prologue, and I can tell you it's nice in here. It feels nice and airy. I feel pretty relaxed when it comes to just kind of the feeling. And then we start actually driving. That's where things get a little kind of unrelaxing, I would say. First, kind of starting off with the ride quality of this. And it's good if you want a sports car, because this thing, if you hit a bump, the whole chassis is gonna follow. So it doesn't, the dampers or something are, and the springs, something is not tuned for a quality, comfortable ride. Like, you hit something and like, granted, it follows that bump, but it follows it with the whole chassis, not with the suspension. So yeah, like, I'm literally hitting every bump, and I'm doing this because I am feeling every single little bump with this. And it's not in a sports car feel, because there's been some SUVs that I've driven, I'm like, okay, you're a little bit on the sportier side, like Mazda's SUVs. And again, I can kind of forgive that because you get a little bit more performance kind of feel to it. Not with this. This is just almost unbearable. It really is. The seat is comfortable though. Thankfully, you know, we do get some comfort with that to help absorb the big movements that we get. Yeah, with the whole vehicle. He thought I was joking. No, I'm not. But then we have all these other little quirks that have just been kind of driving me nuts, and it's just been adding on, and I'm like, this isn't Honda. This is, I hate to say it, but this is more on page with Chevy or GM products. It really is. These little quirks that, I don't know, I guess I forgave more in a Chevy vehicle because, or a GM vehicle, because you know that friend that you're having to apologize for because they kind of act a little bit out of line, but they're still kind of your friend. Yeah. Then you get that one friend that's really great and, you know, means it's just a spectacular friend. And then they kind of do something weird and you're just like, whoa, what's going on? That's not typical of you. Yeah. That's what kind of this is, because Honda's like that friend of like, yeah, great, dependable, awesome, and then when you do something weird, it's kind of like, whoa, what are you doing? While GM is a little bit, I'd say, more forgiving, and the fact that you're like, okay, and that's kind of expected of you. Yeah, but let's go ahead and we will switch this off to sport mode, which is a button very hidden down here. Yeah, let's see what this is like. So I'll go ahead and give it a little go, and it's okay. So don't expect your typical EV kind of acceleration, especially highway passing, because that's kind of where EVs aren't as strong, because you're used to that kind of instant torque, and then it just kind of falls out. Now, yeah, this is a big vehicle, and it feels like a big vehicle. So that turn there, you do feel the front tires just kind of washing out a little bit, essentially understeering. But yeah, so I wish the power would be distributed a little bit more to the back to get this thing rotated. But yeah, this thing is, I'm having to put a significant amount of steering input, and yeah, there goes pretty much everything that is really not secure in this. We'll talk about, yeah, we spoke about that, especially the cup holders that are just massive for your cups. But you can see, yeah, my water bottle is just moving all around, which is why I really dislike these cup holders. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm trying to find something that I like. I'm trying to find a quirk that's just like, whoa, that's cool. Like I usually do in a lot of cars, like I usually do in Honda, that have like really cool, like, feeling. That's the big thing. And yes, I know you guys are gonna say, well, EVs have no soul. Not true. I've driven many EVs that have a great feel to them. Yeah, this is just not one of those. But let's go ahead and we will see how we do with the 3-point stop. So we'll go ahead and get it to a stop, and we get the whirling sound when we are under, I believe, 20 miles an hour. So tires a little bit on the grass there. You rotate here. Oh. Go ahead and rotate. Yeah. Yes, I know. Yeah, not the best turning radius, so I am struggling with this to get it straight. And there you have it. Took a good amount of turns to get this guy straight. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've set up our race box. It's our telemetry box to let us know our 0 to 30, 0 to 60, has a drag feature, has a lap timer, all built in one. Really awesome product, love it. The company is great. They just upgraded their app as well. So yeah, some really cool features that have been added. So if you're interested in one of them, you'll see my link in the description and possibly get a little bit of discount. So yeah, so let's go ahead and we have it in sport mode. Now I'm not gonna brake boost it because it's, yeah, I did that, and the first time that I tried it, it just kind of fell flat. So I do just have it with auto hold, and I'm just gonna hit the accelerator pedal. So here we go. Okay, so we have 0 to 30 in 2.52 seconds and 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds. Honestly, it sounds about right. It sounds about right. It's, again, it doesn't have the super torque that you usually get for EVs, but the drivability regarding the pedal and the power, not the suspension, regarding the drivability of the Prologue with the pedal is good. Power delivery is nice. So yeah, if you want to make it go a little bit, you can. It's a little bit, again, highway passing is going to be a little bit of a struggle, but just kind of everyday, just city driving, it's going to be fine. And I do have it set to the one pedal driving. It did, you know, I did have to get a little bit used to it more than with other EVs that have one pedal driving, because I don't know, it's just tuned differently. It's not tuned bad, it's tuned differently with the amount of regenerative braking. So yeah, it took me a little bit longer. If you've never kind of driven one, an EV with one pedal driving, essentially, you're gonna catch it on. You're gonna catch on to it really quickly with this one. It's harder to kind of unlearn another pedal's feel than it is to learn a new one, kind of thing, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I mean, and again, we can switch it over to just normal mode and drive it. And yeah, the drivability, like I said, was really good regarding that. The sound in here, it's really quiet. That's one thing that I was really surprised. I liked it. It feels like a really sealed cabin in here, and yeah, you don't really get that much outside noise. And yeah, you get the little whirring of the EV version of the EV sound kind of thing, obviously when you're at lower speeds, but yeah, it's super quiet. So that was one thing. Again, quiet, really airy feeling in here. And I guess that's it. I mean, yeah. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed my review of the Honda Prologue, and remember, find the right gear. This one's EV, so just hit the pedal. See ya.